Building Community is a video series developed by the Chester Housing Authority at the outset of the COVID-19 outbreak. It is one of the numerous communication mechanisms initiated in order for the Chester Housing Authority to keep in contact with its residents, staff, and the general public during an extended time of isolation.
Said, I think the most important thing for this election is just to have people do whatever they're most comfortable with. Like, if you're comfortable with voting in person, then vote in person. If you're not comfortable, then vote by mail. If you can, vote early. It's all a matter of comfort, because if people are uncomfortable with voting, they're not going to do it. If somebody's only option is to vote by mail, but they don't feel comfortable with it, then they probably won't vote. So I feel like it's very important to make sure people are comfortable and they're as prepared as possible and they know exactly how everything is done. Like, a lot of people are worried because they said that they found ballots that were in a trash can, or a lot of people are getting problems with the mail. And so if that turns you away, then vote in person. There's been a lot of misconception, especially in New Jersey, because our governor has given mail-in ballots to absolutely everybody in the country, not in the country, in the state. So everybody, my whole family got mail-in ballots without having to even apply for them. So that's been causing a lot of tension, actually, even though it's meant for a way for people to feel safe.
Right.
So with COVID, I just think it's important that everybody does things however will allow them to be safe and to be healthy and to make sure that their voice is heard.
Yeah, if I could throw one piece on the tail end of this this conversation here, this part of the conversation. There's a black man who I believe is running for the Senate in Mississippi now. And he previously ran for the Senate in Mississippi and he lost. And I think maybe he said he expected to lose, but he ran then to set it up for eventually running again and then winning, because it was going to be a long process of influencing the voting public that to have confidence in him. When I heard, I heard pieces of him telling him that story, and I think I liken it to voting. Voting is a lifetime occupation, and so let's take this year, for example. It sounds like it's a mess, at least if you buy into all the maybe disinformation that's being put out to make it seem like a mess. But let's just say for a minute, it is kind of a mess, because just the fact that you have to make a decision between maybe 3 or 4 different methods of voting. We all kind of remember the day when, there's one way to vote. You go find your polling place, you get in line, you vote, it's done. There's no thinking involved. But if it's a mess and you participate and you see what's going on, that will motivate you to be part of a system to clean that up for the next time and the next time and the next time. I hear a lot when people talk about younger generations and their desire for instant gratification. I don't think my generation was trained that way. We were okay with exercising patience and working for causes year after year after year, however long it took to change a system. I hope people will start looking at voting that way. Work on participating, figuring out what you don't like about the process, and then working to correct it. And as Dr. Vasquez says, be sure your voice is heard through your vote, and to get people in position that share your vision, because then they'll be unhappy with the same things you're unhappy with, and you'll get as many people as you know that share that vision to also participate, and eventually the system gets changed. There's no reason that people with the majority vision shouldn't also have the majority influence. And I think, we've been manipulated enough over the centuries to where people, I think it might be safe to say, people in the minority vision have controlled the majority. And it's time to change that.
Ulysses, I'd just like to say one thing that I didn't touch on, because I heard Megan say a lot of times individuals feel like my vote doesn't matter, it's just one vote. So just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I know we probably have some time constraints, but I don't know of an election where a candidate lost by one vote, right? So like with something to one vote. But I'm just going to give you a couple of stats because I do think that data kind of solidifies the argument, right? So when we look at like those key electorate states, and you hear in elections all the time, these key swing states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Florida, as key states around the electorate. When we look at Wisconsin in 2016 with the first presidential election for Trump, Trump won Wisconsin by 23,000 votes, but 93,000 people in Milwaukee did not vote. Right? When we look at Florida, Trump won Florida, but 379,000 people in Miami didn't vote. He won Michigan by 11,000 votes, but 277,000 people in Detroit alone didn't vote. And he won Pennsylvania by 44,000 votes, but just in Philadelphia, 238,000 people didn't vote. So if 44,000 or 45,000 of those individuals in Philadelphia voted for Hillary Clinton, we may have had a totally different trajectory. So does one vote matter? Well, I don't know of a situation where a candidate lost by one vote, but I think one vote upon votes upon votes upon votes certainly does matter. And so again, when we're looking for candidates whose vision aligns with us, we want to be conscientious that we're doing our part so that we're minimizing that number of votes that can obviously change the trajectory of where we're trying to go.
I think what we're hearing here today is nobody can do it all, but everybody can do something.
Absolutely.
And that if everybody does there's something here, then everything will fall into place. But when you look at the numbers the way that you just laid them out, Dr. Vasquez, clearly a lot of people decided, I'm not even doing my part. So what can you expect to change if you don't do your part? Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Today, it is October the 6th. For people who might be watching this, October the 6th, and we're about 4 weeks away from the election. Who knows, maybe we'll get an opportunity or reason to do this again, to give people a little bit more motivation to get to the polls in November. Steve, any last words?
Just put out the clarion call to our community of the Housing Authority that, as you like to say, we're housers, but we will also field any questions to do with voting. If we can be helpful to anyone to clear up any confusion or to help them get registered or to a polling place or to figure out how to do the envelopes, we are completely available. All of our staff are passionate about helping people to be able to participate. So any residents watching this, please don't feel shy about asking for assistance in that way. Lastly, I'll say to our friends who joined us today, I congratulate you for refraining from the temptation of just coming right out and telling people how you would like to see them vote.